Hi there, and welcome to the Projects Distilled YouTube channel where we talk about all things project management. I am so glad that you're here. I have a question for you. Is project management strategic? We're going to answer that question. I think there's a lot of layers to it. I've had debates about this with my colleagues. I'm going to share with you my reasoning as to why I think that it may or may not be strategic. Let's dive in. So we're going to start by looking at the definition of strategic. We're going to go straight to the source. We're going to go to Merriam-Webster's dictionary so that we can define whether or not project management is strategic. Let's look at the first definition. Of, relating to, or marked by strategy. Okay, that doesn't tell us a whole lot except that strategic is related to, it's the adjective of strategy. Definition number 2 is much more relevant to us. Necessary to or important to the initiation, conduct, or completion of a strategic plan. Part B is not that relevant. It's related to war. Part C is very relevant though. Of great importance within an integrated whole or to a planned effect. So let's start with that definition and apply it to project management. Now, I'm going to define project management as the entire discipline of managing projects. So that includes project management, program management, portfolio management. Take a look at this diagram that I've created. You can see you've got project management at the bottom. It's the foundational work. Program management above that, portfolio management. And above that in orange, I've actually put something that is absolutely key. It's organizational strategy. But organizational strategy is not something that falls within the domain of project management, but it's essential to define here so that we can see where we fit in the universe of strategy. Now, on the right-hand side, I've broken it out into 2 columns. The first column, what the organization needs to do, that's a strategic discussion. It's all about where an organization puts its resources. All organizations have limited resources. You're placing a bet, you're making a decision on what to do and what not to do. That's strategy. The second column answers what an individual needs to do, and that is strategic execution. Let's take a look at each of these functions on the left and see how they do against our 2 definitions in the columns. So organizational strategy, clearly that is all about defining what an organization does. So yes, it is strategic at the organizational level. Does it tell an individual what to do? No, not really. They're usually broader statements. They're the big bets. They're not the things that are easily translatable down to the individual directly. What about portfolio management? Yes, portfolio management is strategic in that it helps define what we should do at any given time. What projects, programs should go forward, what should not. So I consider that a strategic function. So that's a yes. But on the individual level, does it tell people what to do? No, not necessarily. It's still a little bit too broad. What about program management? Program management is about completing a cluster of related projects, but does the program manager get to decide what the program is, what it's supposed to accomplish? No, but they do get to decide how to accomplish it and what people should be doing. So it is not strategic at the organizational level, but it is strategic at the execution level. And if we continue down then to the project level, project managers don't get to decide what projects they're going to work on. Usually projects should be decided at the portfolio level. They're not the decision makers, but they do get to decide how the project is organized and who will be doing what. So project management is about strategic execution. So hopefully that's helpful. You can see that in my mind, there are parts of what we do, especially at that portfolio level, that are all about organizational strategy, aligning the work that needs to be done to the broader organizational goals. But when you're doing project management or program management, it's more about the execution of the strategy. Let's take a look at this diagram. I've now bumped everything over and added a new column to help hopefully clarify this for us. The first 2 columns that we had talked about just a moment ago are all about the work. Is the work being done strategic? This new column I'm adding is the individual doing strategic work? So at the organizational strategy level, the work being done is absolutely strategic, but that is not something that a project or program or even a portfolio manager necessarily does. So that's an NA for us, because that's outside of the scope of the work that we do. But at the portfolio level, is the individual being strategic? Yes, because you're helping to facilitate decisions. You may not own the decision as a portfolio manager, but you are a strong influencer, and that is a strategic role. Is an individual who is a program manager strategic? In my opinion, no. They are all about executing strategic programs. They are all about making sure that individuals are executing well on these strategic programs, but the work they're doing isn't deciding the strategy. Same applies for project management, but a project manager isn't about deciding strategy, it's about execution. It's not a strategic role. So I hope that that's not bad news, but that's the way I see it, that there are elements of our broader role, especially that portfolio level, that are definitely strategic, but for the most part, what we do is execute and execute well. Execution is just as important as strategy. Doesn't matter how good a strategy is, if you can't execute on it, it's not going to go anywhere. And execution without strategy is also no good. You may be the very best at getting something done, but if it's not of value to the company, then so what? The two have to work hand in hand, strategy and execution. Part of what we do is strategic, but most of what we do is execution focused. I hope you enjoyed the video. If so, please like and subscribe. Thank you so much.